Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday night Step into Your Power call. And tonight we have a very, very, very special guest speaker. Jill Quandt is joining us and is kindly and generously agreed to share what's been a very well, I'll let you give it the adjectives, Jill, because I don't want to give it adjectives that don't match how you feel about what your journey has been for the last 2 years. And so I'm not going to set it up. I'm just going to let you share what's been happening in your life. How's that?
Sounds great. Hi, everybody. My name is Jill Quandt. I've met several of you on here in Las Vegas, and that was great. I guess I'll just start with a little bit of me. And, I just, September 3rd, I just had a birthday. So I turned 39. And I have a beautiful daughter, Taylor, who will be 13 in November. And of course, we have a little fur baby too. We have little baby Nala, and she keeps me pretty busy. But I've been with Isagenix for just right at 2 years, maybe 2 years and a month or something like that. And I guess maybe for me to tell you all of my cancer story and my entire journey, I probably need to, just start from the very beginning, and give you a little bit of background. But, I was one of those that I tried everything. I remember, I grew up with 2 older brothers, and I remember being in 5th grade and choosing to bring carrots instead of chips. And, so I've always been, I don't want to say health conscious, because the health part wasn't really in the forefront of my mind. I've always been very body image focused. And so, this has been an ongoing process for me. So I've done, all of the different ones. I won't even name them off, because I'm sure that you guys have tried all of it too. And, it worked, as long as I, hung with it, and some I'd get some results, some I'd get, not as much, and, different things like that. So, when Jennifer Taylor called me about Isagenix, I said, well, yeah. I said, here's my credit card number. I didn't even ask questions. And she's like, so I need your, information so that if you decide to share. And I said, oh, no. I said, I don't want anything to do with the business. I just, if this is as great as what everybody says it is, then, this is what I want. So, did that. And I thought, oh my, when after my 30 days, I couldn't believe it. I was putting shorts on that I hadn't had on, and I can't even tell you how long. I felt great. I was waking up before my alarm, the whole deal. A lot of us know about this. So I was rocking and rolling. I was, feeling great, getting out and exercising. Everything was going really well. And then I did have a business trip last April 2016, and it started on Sunday. So I flew in Saturday, mid-afternoon, and hung out and did everything. And then Sunday morning I got up, got in the shower, got ready and everything like that. And I thought, oh, when I was drying off is whenever I found it. And I thought, what is that? And I thought it was like a pulled muscle or something that didn't hurt. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So, my mom's a breast cancer survivor. So obviously feeling something, feeling a lump there was a little bit like, but I was like, nah, that's what it is. And so I really honestly was not worried. The collage that Dawn has attached to this invite, The picture of me with long brown blonde hair in the top left corner was me at Orlando. After I'd found this, I went on my way, was not worried at all. Didn't even tell my parents whenever I got home. You know, I didn't say anything about it. I just called the doctor and said, hey, I think I have something that you need to look at. No big deal. And so I got home on a Wednesday night, went to the doctor on Friday, and she says, yeah, I can tell what you're talking about, but I'm with you. I don't think it's a big deal. So I said, okay. She's like, but let's just do a mammogram just to make sure. I said, okay, fine, we'll do it. And so that was scheduled for the next Monday. That was April 18th. And I went for my mammogram at, I don't know, 2-ish, something like that. And she said, well, we need you to go to the hospital to have an ultrasound. The radiologist would really feel much better if he could see it through an ultrasound, just to make sure everything's good. I said, okay. She's like, do you have time to do that now? And I said, sure, I'm already here, so let's go ahead. So I drove over to the hospital, had that done, and she says, okay, great. She says, you wait right here, and I'll go get him to have him take a look, and then we'll be ready to go. And I said, okay. So as I'm sitting in this, kind of dark room, because they have the lights dimmed, so that you can see better on the ultrasound screen and everything. I'm sitting there and I'm like, gosh, what's taking him so long? I'm ready to get back to work. And that's the first time that it literally hit me. And I was like, no, that's not what this is. I don't have cancer. All of this is like going through my head. And I'm like, right. I mean, right, Jill, this isn't that. And so he walked in, and I think he introduced himself. I don't even remember. I know his name, but I can't even remember. And he sat down on a chair next to me. And I knew then that I was in trouble. And he said, he's like, obviously, he's like, you probably know you can't tell anything for sure without a biopsy. He's like, but I'm just telling you what I know. I've been doing this for 25 years, and this is what you have ahead of you. So I didn't lose it. I didn't freak out. My voice kind of, grabbed a little bit a couple of times when he was asking for questions. And I'm like, who has questions whenever you first hear, hey, it's a cancer, So, I did great. Got ready, got my stuff, and went out to the car, and I just barely made it to the car. I was this close to getting in and still having it all together. And as I was unlocking, I just, lost it. I just sat in the parking lot and I cried and I cried. And I went to the park. I went to one of the community parks and sat there for about an hour because I knew that my mom was picking up my daughter, Taylor, and taking her and her cousin, my niece, to softball practice in like 30 minutes. And I was like, there's no way that I can go to their house like this. Like, I can't do that. I can't go to my parents' house like this whenever Taylor's there. So I called my boss and said, hey, I'm not going to be back. And I told her, I said, Angie, I said, this is really bad. She's like, okay. She's like, we don't know any of that, and everything like this. So I literally sat by myself, which was good. It was good for me because I was able to let everything out. And to, some more background on that. So I am a single mother. I'm a single parent, and that is because we lost Taylor's dad to cancer when she was 4. So Taylor's been down this road before. Obviously, she doesn't remember from whenever she was 4, but she knows that she doesn't have a dad because of that. We've also lost his dad because of cancer. And so I knew this was going to be kind of a positive and a negative for it, because I thought she's going to know about it but she only knows one outcome. So, so that, you know, was my first thought there was, Jill, you cannot go to your mom and dad's like this before she goes. So, after I knew they were gone, I went ahead and drove to my mom and dad's, and I opened the garage door and nobody's home. I was like, oh, good Lord, are you kidding me? Like, nobody's home right now? Where are they? And so I called my dad, and he was out and about with one of his coffee buddies. And I didn't know, but my mom had told him that I was going to have the mammogram and stuff too. So he said, well, where are you? And I said, well, I'm at your house, but no one's here. And he said, oh. And he said, how did the test go? And I was like, it's so not good. And so he said, I'm coming home right now. So the two of us sat there. I told him what little I knew, you know, and then we waited for my mom to get back from dropping the girls off. So she comes in and just is, you know, what's going on, you know? And I told her, I said, Mom, I said, it's not good. And she just, all the air left her, you know, and she came and sat down on the couch next to me and just grabbed me and hugged me. And she said, I just can't believe this. And I said, I can't either. I mean, I was 37, you know, I mean, women aren't supposed to have to worry about this until they're 40, right? I mean, that's when you should start getting your mammograms. And more often it's women that it's happening to that are a lot younger than 40. So, you know, it's a good thing. There's a lot that happened that day. The surgeon called me at home and says, can you be here tomorrow for a biopsy? And I said, yes, wherever, whenever, I'll be there. You know, I have the biopsy, and we kind of role play on, well, if it's this, you know, do you want me to call you? Do you want me to call and ask you to come in? You know, and I said, just call. I said, we both know what this is going to say, you know. So the phone call went okay because I was prepared. And the phone call happened on a Thursday. It happened 2 days after the biopsy. And I saw a number that is local to our lake, and I knew that he lived out there. So I thought, oh gosh, this is him. So I told Taylor, I said, Taylor, I said, this is the doctor. So I said, I've got to take this in my room. And I said, I'll be right back. So he's, you know, telling me, you know, I'm so sorry to tell you this. And I said, hey, I said, we both knew, you know. So he's telling me stage 1 and grade 3, and he's throwing all this triple negative, you know, all this different stuff out. And I really listened to nothing. I couldn't really process, but it was fine. I knew what it was, so that's okay. So I came out into the living room, and all of a sudden it was so crazy. Like, I mean, it's just those moments that you can't make up. As soon as I hung up with him, I heard thunder. And so this is April 21st, I think. Literally the biggest hailstorm that I have ever seen. Total sunshine, and then thunder, and boom, our driveway was completely white. And so Taylor and I were like, oh my gosh, you know, and we're looking out the front windows, and then we go out the back window because it's coming from the south. So we went to look that way, and we were standing there in the laundry room looking out the back, and she said, you have cancer, don't you? And I said, yeah, I do. And she just put her head down, and then she kind of barely looked up at me out of the corner of her eye, and she said, are you going to die too? And I said, what? And she just kind of looked at me. I said, absolutely not. I said, no, that's not what's going on here. I said, what's going on? I said, they're going to have to take this yucky junk out of me. I said, so I'm going to have surgery. I said, and then they're going to give me some more yucky junk to make me really sick. And I said, and I'm going to lose my hair, and I'm going to look funny and weird. And I said, but if I'm lucky, I'm going to lose some weight. And she didn't find that funny, but so I said, and then that's going to be it. You know, I said, that's it. I'm just going to have some bad medicine, and it'll be, you know, a few months, and then you and I will move on and be on our way. So I said, okay. And she says, you know, okay. So I have a thinker. So she trots back to her room. And so I sat down on the couch and turned the TV on. About 10 or 15 minutes later, she comes out and she goes, you know, has her shoulders back, and she goes, Mom, okay. I said, all right. So I had her on board, you know, she just had to think about it for a second and understand that, hey, Mom's not going she's not going anywhere. And that was something with me. I never once thought, oh my gosh, I could die. I mean, I never once thought that. I thought this is an inconvenience, and I was mad. No one asked me about this. I've got softball to go to. I have volleyball games to go to. I have homework to do. You know, I was mad. This is not in my plans. And it's probably a good thing because I processed it better, angry. But so had all of that done, you know, went through all the testing, had the surgery. Surgery went well. I was essentially cancer-free after the surgery. But the grade 3 part on my tumor, so there's 4 stages, but 3 grades. And the grade is how fast your cells are replicating. So there's a number with breast cancer, and they want you to be 10 or under with this number. And I was at 86. So my cancer cells were replicating very, very quickly. So from the day I found out until surgery was 3 weeks. I was bone scanning and MRIing and CAT scanning and you know, oncology visit and surgeon visit. I was all over the place for 3 weeks, which is very good because it was a very big to-do list for me. Go here, go here, go here, go to work in between. And, you know, everything was just a job. It was a duty. And so as chemo came around, I talked to my oncologist and I said, so what about nutrition? I said, do you have a nutrition plan? I said, surely there's something that I have to follow, right? Like, do you have a printed out guide of what I should do? And he said, nope. He said, you need protein and fruits and vegetables. He's like, that's what I want you to focus on is protein, fruits and vegetables. And I said, okay. I said, well, I'm sure that you've heard of isogenics. And he says, yes, I've heard of it. And I said, so am I okay to continue doing my program? And I said, you know, it's protein, it's meal replacement shakes. And he said, absolutely. He said, just get as much protein as you can so that we can keep as much weight on you as possible. I said, okay. So I said, what about cleansing? Can I cleanse? And he said, no. And so that one made sense to me, right? You're poisoning me, so I really don't want to help you get that out any sooner than what your body wants to let it out, because I need it to stay in there longer and make sure and kill any cancer cell that's left in your big toe or something, you know? So the cleansing part made sense to me. So went through chemo, you know, and I have to say too, my oncologist he's one of the top oncologists in the country. He really is. I mean, if he sends you somewhere, then you should be a little concerned about, you know, what's going on. He has sent people to, you know, MD Anderson in Houston, and they've said, why are you coming here? You have him there, you know? So, I mean, he's very, very good. I don't want to give the impression that he's not, but nutrition just was not anything that he was really interested in. I mean, he was interested in giving me the medicine to kill everything. And so nutrition wasn't really a high point on any of that. But, you know, everything went well. Chemo isn't what kills you. It's the side effects of it. So, you know, I have some neuropathy left in my legs and my hands and my feet. So, you know, walking some days, it takes me a little bit to get up and moving around. And, you know, I've got some leftover stuff, but so does everybody, right? But what this has done for me, one of the first days after my first 4 really hard treatments, there's 2 medicines and you have to have them both at the same time. And You can only do them. Most women do them every 3 weeks. I had to do mine every 2. And so some of those pictures that you see on that collage where I'm not looking too fantastic is mainly during that time. First day I felt good during all of that. I'm like, I'm going to the grocery store. I mean, I was excited to go to the grocery store. I'm going to the grocery store. So I've got my scarf on and I'm all pepped up. I'm ready to go. And by the time I got, stuff in the cart and up to the line to check out, I was practically laying on the cart, waiting in line to pay. And we still have a hometown IGA, and they do drive up. So the guy says, hey, would you like drive up? And I said, you know what? I would love drive up today. Thank you. So I take my receipt with my number written on it, and he brings my card out whenever I come in and drive up. Turns out he's the head of the Effingham County Relay for Life. And he says, if you don't mind, what kind do you have? And I said, I have breast cancer. And so we talked for probably 20 minutes. Nobody came behind us, thank goodness, me in the line. And now I'm on the board of Relay for Life for Effingham County. I was their survivor speaker this summer. I tend to do a lot of speaking engagements for them. I've spoken to the local CEO class for the kids that are looking for, really to be an entrepreneur for business and, things like that. I have spoken to several businesses that we are looking to receive donations to keep everything going. And so that was a blessing in disguise that, I felt so great that day and I wanted to go to the grocery store because that has just been fantastic. And I've also been asked to be a mentor for a CEO student this year, and which I don't think I'm going to be able to do just because I'm really, really working on my business right now. And, I've got softball games to go to. Now I'm smiling and saying that instead of mad that I've got games to go to. I don't have time for this. And, I have all of that. So I just thought, I can't miss something for my kid to be with another kid right now. We just got over all of this January. I took my last radiation treatment in January. So it's still really fresh for us, So, the one thing, so obviously I had body issues, to begin with. I wanted to look like the models in the magazines, and I wanted to be toned like that and feel comfortable in my own skin. And I never did. And I do now. I really, really do now. And the thing is that I have learned so much from the products and the company in general that I am who I am, right? I'm going to look however I look, and I can go wherever I want to go as long as I choose to take myself there. So that was a really big eye-opener as far as when I was going through chemo and using the products. Now, again, I did not do the cleanse. I used the Ionics like it was going out of style. I used it all the time. My body was definitely in some conflict there. So I was all about the Supreme. But the hard part is that I sat there and watched these people, because it's literally a room full of recliners and every recliner is full. Everybody's is sitting with their little IV pole and all their different bags hanging there. And everybody around me, I'm like, you're getting poison shot into your arm or through your port, but you're sitting here eating Dairy Queen and McDonald's and Burger King. It would smell so bad in that room. I'd lay there with my face. Once they got me hooked up, I'd put my Beats on and I'd cover my head up with my blanket and I'd stuff it right by my nose so that I could smell like me and my house and my laundry because it was just food, greasy food everywhere. And I was like, you guys, you're not getting it. you're not getting it at all. You're getting the medicine to make you better and to make things, longevity to, longer, but you're putting a whole different poison in you while you're getting poisoned. Like that's what really got me. But since then, since I finished my chemo and my radiation, I've done the 30-day program over and over again. I've cleansed. I still use my Supreme several times a day. I've added fruits. I've added greens. I've added all of that stuff to my shakes. And I feel great. I feel great. November 2nd will be 1 year since I've taken chemo, and I feel great. And I just think that that's an amazing thing. There's a lot of people out there who've never had cancer, who've never been sick, who've never gone through any kind of turmoil in their life that can't say, I feel great. And I've gone through all of that, and I have a steady product beside me to help me through, to help get me through it, but then to help push me through to the next part of my journey. And I got a whole lot of places to go on that journey, and I've got a whole lot of people to take with me. So I can't afford to be sidelined again, So that's where I'm at. People have gotten my name from Relay for Life, and I reach out to people. I talk to women on the phone that have just been, hey, my friend, Susie was just diagnosed. Would you mind giving her a call at some point this week? Not at all. I'll call her up. I've got one right now that actually the head of the Relay for Life board that I met at the grocery store, his wife was just diagnosed with triple negative, and that's not a good one that you want to have. You want hormones in the tumor. You want that to happen, and you don't want it to be negative like that. And, they just lost her sister a few months ago to her third battle. I mean, it's everywhere. It is absolutely everywhere. And then I look around and I see, all of these protein shakes that are on TV, to help get you better and pick you back up. And they're full of stuff that we don't want in our bodies. So, my journey with this, well, I'll tell you too, just on the side of the business, I know I was just going to talk about the product, but I have to tell you, I didn't do anything with my business for over a year. I didn't do anything. And every month I still made just enough to cover my monthly order. So how's that? I didn't work for a year on this stuff. Didn't talk to anybody about it, nothing other than if they'd say, what are you drinking, or whatever. But I didn't do anything with it. And I still didn't have to pay a dime out of my own money to pay for my products so I stayed active the whole time. And, there's something to be said about that. And I wouldn't have the options that I have right now, and I wouldn't be where I am right now, one, without getting cancer. Cancer, this is so weird to say it like this, but it's a great opportunity if you take it, because it's a door opening right in front of you. And if you choose to see it that way, and your eyes are wide open, and, I had a very bad phobia of sick people. If somebody comes and says that their throat hurts, I'm like, oh God, I think mine does too. I immediately thought that I was sick. And I have held more people's hands, while we're sitting there getting chemo together, and they're telling me that they'll be taking chemo for the rest of their life whenever I'm telling them that I've got, 8 left. And, that's the way it is. I mean, any person that thinks they've got it rough, I would ask you to walk into a cancer center and just sit with somebody for 10 or 15 minutes. Just sit with them. Just let them talk about whatever they want to. And you will be amazed. And that's what I mean by, I chose to see cancer as an opportunity. It is a very big opportunity for me. I have changed the way I think about a lot of things. And I sure as heck have put the health of my body way in front of my body image. So I know I took, it's 8:32, so I'm over my 30 minutes, but you know, that was my before, during, and after. But I hope you guys found something useful out of it. It's, you know, it's just my life. That's what happened, you know, but that's what I chose to do with it, and that's what Isagenix helped me do with it too. So thank you, everybody that came in. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, thanks everybody that hopped on tonight.
You know, Jill, I didn't know you very well, right, before
Yep.
that all happened. And so but I watched your journey. Do you remember when I was in Italy?
Yes, the dress.
And it said, what did it, extraordinary is who you are to me. And then it had a positive and an arrow. And I was like, this, for me, this reminds me of Jill Quandt. And I took a picture and I said, for me, this is who you are.
Yes.
In the world.
Yeah.
This amazing positive force, despite what you've been up against.
Yeah.
In the world. And so now, you know, Jill shared with me that when she's in some support groups, right? You're in some recovery support groups.
Yep.
And she said she would walk into the room and look around and everybody was gray. Right?
Yep.
Everybody in the group, you know, everybody's recovering from chemo and radiation, and they were just gray and drawn and exhausted. And here you are, this vibrant being, like, and you told me that you thought that part of the reason that you felt that way, not just your positive attitude and how you chose to approach it, was that you got right back on Isagenix.
Absolutely.
And then you were able to then use all the products, and you had supported yourself throughout your journey with the products. And then as soon as you got the clear signal, you could cleanse and start getting that poison out, right? Like really get it out. I'm sure was your mission. And so Jill is now, you know, talking to, like she shared, with people who are just about to experience it and with people who are recovering, trying to help them understand what an important role nutrition plays in the whole process, right?
Yes.
And just sharing just what your experience has been. You're not a nutritionist, you're not some expert. All you can say is, this is what I did, and this is how I feel. And I think I feel a whole lot better than a lot of other people who are at this point because of how seriously I take what I put into my body. Is that a fair statement?
It is completely a fair statement. Yes. Because I remember there were 2 women that were always there. We were at different stages during our chemo process, but they were always there at the same time of the day that I was. And one of them always had food brought to her, and she said, "Oh, you drive home after this?" And I said, "Yes," because I'm thinking everybody doesn't, you know. And she said, "Oh, I can't. I'm out and done, you know, after this." And I just thought, well, but look what you're putting into you, you know. I mean, like, just, we've all eaten at those places, you know, we've all done that. And though it just weighs you down, and you have that after tired part. And so, I mean, it just kind of struck me, you know, with, oh, I'm just too done after this. And I know that chemo affects everyone differently, but whenever, I mean, you know, I saw her eating this stuff every week whenever I would be in there. And I just thought, oh man, you really need to change that. So, you know, everybody has the experience that they have. And that's where I go back to again. I chose to see it as an opportunity.
I know you did. And I know you're not just making that up after the fact to make it sound good, right? No, I know that you did from the get-go. And for anybody who's on this call who doesn't know Jill or doesn't know, you know, what we do or anything about this team, Jill has been really generous to offer to talk to you, to talk to your friends, to talk to anybody who is going through this process and needs some support and needs to understand that they have some options, you know, that they have some options before, during, and after. and you can talk to them about, obviously everybody's got to listen to their doctor, right? And
Right.
what your doctor says, but you can share what your experience was and what you think the benefits were of the way that you approached it. So if anybody is on this call and has a friend, has a mother, has somebody that they think would benefit from talking to Jill, then just friend Jill and reach out to her, and then share this recording and let them watch and let them see if, maybe all they need is the recording, Jill. Maybe all they need is to hear your story. Maybe that'll be enough to support them. I think you've done a really thank you for being so open and so real and sharing all of it. I think that wow, what a call, you guys, right? Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. We almost made it, Jill. We almost made it, but you know what? Every bit was important. Like it was the whole journey, and I appreciate that you didn't just talk about. And I'm sure everybody watching will appreciate that you didn't just talk about shakes and isogenics, and it's part of that's this small part of what has been this really big opportunity.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. And what we're going to do right now, if there's any guests on the call that came to the call and just wanted to hear Jill's story, we are actually going to continue because we have some team business. Oh, let me end the recording. Sorry, I'm going to end the recording.